The question is a practical side of applying Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasa Anudasa. How to be servant of the servant of the servant of the maintainer of the gopis. And that's Krishna. The way that is recommended in the scriptures that we should serve is to follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. We learn from the scriptures on different examples how devotees were serving, how they were behaving in different situations, how they were reacting in different situations. And one word I think that is important in relation to service is readiness. Readiness to serve. So if you are ready to serve at any time, then you have a, I think, a good attitude. Now this can be tricky because you may be ready to serve, and usually when people see that someone is ready to serve, everybody wants to engage you. so you have to be careful. You cannot serve everyone all the time, but you can serve some people part of the time or most of the time. So you have to be clear whom are you serving, whom are you saying yes, whom are you saying no. But this readiness is very powerful attitude. I sometimes try to cultivate this in relation to some people. Whenever they call me, if I'm not busy, I'm ready to listen to them, to speak to them, to help them in some way. I mean, I try to cultivate this attitude towards everyone. But with some people with whom you are closer, then you can, be more ready to serve them. Like, for example, if you have a family, you will be ready if your wife calls you, oh, please come and pick me up, I'm stuck, or car is broken, you will immediately do something about it. So readiness is a powerful attitude for service. You are ready to jump and do anything for Krishna or for devotees. This is very exciting. The question is how to follow in the footsteps and not imitate. And the example is of the gopis of Srimati Radharani, who has this unconditional love, unconditional service. And it is said that we are spontaneously attracted to serve some people who inspire us more. And that's completely okay to have this inclination. This is completely okay. Well, we have to be careful not to jump too high too soon. Not to jump too high too soon. And if we read about Srimati Radharani, gopis, inhabitants of Vrindavan, their attitude that they are ready to do anything for Krishna at any time, that they are serving Krishna unconditionally, they are giving unconditional love. Like the 8th verse of Shikshashtaka describes unconditional love. So basically a devotee is ready to serve Krishna even if Krishna rejects him, even if Krishna doesn't appear before him, even if Krishna handles him roughly by his embrace, like some rough embrace, not a very gentle embrace or something like that. And sometimes it's very hard. If you want, for example, to give everyone unconditional love, sometimes it's not easy because usually we expect reciprocation. And if people don't reciprocate, then you may become upset. You may start to feel sorry or rejected, or your service or love is not appreciated, or like this. So this may happen because we are still conditioned. But I think if we continue practicing serving unconditionally, practicing to serve unconditionally, practicing to love unconditionally, then, and we have a desire to grow this, to develop this, then I think Krishna will give us the ability to do that, to love and serve unconditionally. So it means you are giving without expecting anything in return. That's unconditional love or unconditional service. How can we not expect? It seems that this expectation is coming from the conditioned mind for reciprocation of love. So how can we not expect others to reciprocate? And Srila Prabhupada describes that love means giving and taking, giving and receiving. So love is reciprocation, but also Shastra is teaching us about unconditional giving, unconditional love, and that means giving without expecting anything in return. So these scriptures help us to start practicing this because they describe the examples of devotees who are serving and loving unconditionally, like Srimati Radharani. In the chapter 20 of Antya Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita, this chapter is called Shikshashtakam Prayers, and it describes all the 8 verses through different other verses, and the last verse is also explained, and this mood of Srimati Radharani of unconditional giving and unconditional love is described. So how and why should I give unconditionally? Actually, when you give unconditionally, Krishna is pleased because this is his instruction. He is teaching us the ultimate selflessness. And the result is that you are satisfied. You are satisfied with giving. You don't need to receive something to be satisfied. But you are happy just by giving. You become happy just by giving. So I think this is the secret of unconditional love, unconditional service, and unconditional giving, to understand that we gain more than the receiver. What do we gain more? Very good question. We gain more of Krishna's pleasure, and when Krishna is pleased, then we are happy. The best happiness comes for a jiva, for a soul, when the Lord is happy, when the Lord is pleased. So by giving, by serving unconditionally, we gain more, we get more, or we make Krishna more pleased. How do we know that Lord is pleased? That is an amazing question. So I can give this incredible example from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 23, the song of the Avanti Brahmana. He said, "The Lord must be pleased with me because he took away everything from me and he gives me so much trouble." But I mean, sometimes the pleasure of the Lord may also be a positive experience, that you feel bliss because the Lord is pleased. You feel bliss. But he also was very happy, although it was painful, it was difficult, he was also very happy that he has realized what he has to do, that he has to dedicate himself completely to the spiritual life. And he was very peaceful and happy about it. Although externally it looks like he was in trouble and he was a loser, but actually he gained so much. Is Krishna more pleased with us when we please devotees than when we please him? I would say yes, because in one verse he says, "One who says that he is my devotee is not my devotee, but my devotee is one who says that he is a devotee of my devotee." So there is a verse from the scriptures like this. So if you take into consideration this verse, then I would say the answer to your question is yes. Lord Chaitanya considered himself to be the servant of the servant of the servant of the master of the gopis. So also this verse is supporting the same thing. How to know who is a devotee? This is also described, like in the Upadeshamrita, is described if one says the holy name only once, and then if one is initiated, if one is doing devotional service. So you can learn from different scriptural verses who is a devotee. Actually, I think also in Chaitanya Charitamrita there is this also, who is a Vaishnava. And we can do a search in the database. I think this question was asked in different Shastric pages. Who is a Vaishnava or who is a devotee? And then we can see what was the answer of Srila Prabhupada or some other devotees. But it's a good question. It's good to know who is a devotee. Basically, we can say that devotee is someone who is engaged in devotional service. Even if he is not pure devotee, but he is still a devotee. And by serving him, you are pleasing Krishna.